Good evening, and welcome to the March 1st, 2017 meeting of the Abington Township Board of Commissioners Public Works Committee. And may I have a roll call, please? Here.
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 Here. Thank you. Our first order of business this evening is to approve the minutes of the February 1st, 2017 Public Works Committee meeting, and may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any comments or corrections from members of the committee?
Keep it in that order.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The Public Works Committee has two items of business this evening. The first is PW1, and this is a motion to accept the lowest responsible bids and enter into contracts with the following companies for the purchase of the materials as shown. And these are signpost material, aluminum blanks material, reflective roll goods type 3 material, reflective sheeting and sign faces, finished signs type 3 material, reflective sheeting and sign faces type 3 material, hot tape pavement markings, and miscellaneous items. And I believe that are the bids in the packet?
Now, the bids will be open on March 2nd. I'll have it for you.
Got it.
For the full
I
board.
didn't see that. Okay, so
Just some background on this. We've been doing, wasn't aware, but we've been doing a consortium bid for 25 years now. And it's been worked out very well for everybody that's involved in it. Pretty much have it down almost as science at this point in time. We're looking forward to some really good numbers this year. Met with 3M today, and they're going to be giving some incentives to the bidders to reduce their prices, so that should work out well for us.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Miklo. And I will move. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any comments or questions from members of the committee? Other members of the board? Staff? Members of the audience? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And PW2, and this is a motion to have the proper officials enter into an intermunicipal agreement with Cheltenham Township for maintenance on 8 traffic signals that are shared intersections with Abington Township, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there comments or questions from members of the committee? Commissioner Farron.
Thank you, Commissioner Hecker. I see in the packet there the signatures of the Cheltenham Township manager and assistant township manager, but I don't see any dates. Are we just waiting for them first? Are they waiting for us first, or what's the order of operations?
Excuse me. They've already agreed to the agreement. I had to bring it to our board. If it's okay with our board, then we will enter into an agreement with them. And some background on it. In Cheltenham, these are all border traffic signals that we share. Most of them half and half with Cheltenham. Some of them a third, because Jenkintown Borough is involved in it too. I've always wanted to take over all of them, because I think we would provide a lot better maintenance that was currently being given to these intersections. They had been going, they were working with a consortium of communities in their traffic signal maintenance program. It didn't work out. That consortium of communities traffic signal maintenance program disbanded last year, and everybody was scrambling this year. It gave me the perfect opportunity to step in and take those intersections back. We can get them back on PMs. What they were doing is they would have the consortium come in there at $90 an hour and repair the lights sometimes 2, 3, 4 times in the same month for the same problem. We were paying half of that. Now we have control over it. We can upgrade those intersections so we don't have to keep going out to the same intersections and repairing them. Cheltenham was all for working with this. We gave him a number that was satisfactory to him. We talked about doing PM services on them, upgrading them to where they're supposed to be. They bought into it. They liked the idea, and so that's why this is on the agenda for tonight.
So assuming this is approved, we're set and ready to go.
Bobby,
So-
we're ready to go right now.
Okay. And is there any? You'd mentioned, Jenkintown. Are there any plans to try to work with those
That is
third?
correct, we are. I just met with the township manager today and his staff, and we came up to an agreement. And the next board meeting, I will present their contract proposal to the board for approval.
So this should overall, if I'm interpreting what you're saying and what I'm reading here correctly, should save us money in the long run and allow us to ensure the highest quality at these intersections.
That is absolutely correct.
Great, thank you.
Other comments or questions? Commissioner Klein?
Any thoughts of doing that with Upper Moreland and Upper Dublin?
No.
No?
We've already met with Upper Dublin, but we can take on so much. We've discussed the border ones, so we're working on just the border ones right now, and we discussed some of the border streetlights with them. We've got that all ironed out, but we want to take on just so much. I don't want to take on too much, so it's our end of it starts lacking.
Got it.
I heard there's another municipality that's going to approach us. We'll have to think deeply about that one. It's a small municipality. We're currently already we've been doing Rockensboro for probably about 10 years now. So, and that's worked out really well for both of us.
Thank you.
So I see that the contract term is for 5 years with successive potential one-year increments of renewal. And in there, it specifies that the termination period is 30 days. I'm assuming it would be the same for notice to renew, the intent to renew at the end of the contract?
I would think so, yes.
And the only reason we did that, I mean, I could have picked out 50 years, it wouldn't matter. We would have to, it's going to come up to a mutual agreement as we go down the
Sure.
line anyway.
Makes
So
sense.
I picked out 5 years with a couple extensions on it, but we also gave each other an out. If it doesn't work out for us or it doesn't work out for them,
You'll back
we can
away.
terminate the contract.
Makes sense, thank you. Are there other comments or questions from members of the committee or members of the board? Any comments from staff? Members of the audience? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Raymond Bell, 2076 Parkview Avenue. What's the anticipated cost of this, and has this been included in 2017's budget?
Go ahead, Mr. McCullough.
Our cost will be virtually minimal. There'll be no extra cost. We already have money in the budget that we have been using to pay the other municipalities for maintaining our traffic signals. I don't anticipate that it's going to cost any more. It's going to cost a lot less, actually. With our cost that we're billing them, our costs are somewhere in the general vicinity of, for our traffic signal maintenance man to go out there. Our cost is somewhere about, with the truck, is about $33 an hour. We're billing at $66 an hour.
What were the costs last year
For costs
for the maintenance of the 8 traffic signals as far as Abington is concerned?
we got billed close to $6,000.
I'm sorry?
We got billed close to $6,000 from Cheltenham.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments from members of the audience? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll now entertain comments from members of the audience related to matters of public works.
Laura Lehman, 1431 Bryant Lane, and I wonder if, Mr. Chairman, you or my commissioner, Mr. Klein, would kindly ask Mr. Miccolo. In 2009, my street and our neighborhood were supposed to be on the 2011 list. In order, they had come out and assessed it, and it was going to be on in 2011. It's now 2017. It's still not on. Do we have an actual date? I wonder if either you or my commissioner would be kind enough to ask and get an answer in public.
I think we
I can talk to Mr. Miccolo and get back to the resident
Okay.
after the meeting.
Could we ask here in public? Because I'd like to have this whole conversation in public. This has not been once or twice or 20 times.
Do you have that information in front of you?
Yes, her street is on the 10-year capital improvement program. It's evaluated every year for overlay, as all the streets are in Abington Township. There's probably about 3 pages of streets that we consider every year for overlay. Her street is not as bad anywhere near some of the other streets that we have in this township that need to be repaired. So consequently, that's why hers has not gotten done yet.
I'm not hearing all of that. It's trailing off. Can you either get closer to your mic or
That's
just,
as loud as I go.
was there a date?
There was not a date. He said,
There's no date.
they evaluated in their 10-year capital for road repaving, and your street has not met the requirements as of yet compared to other streets that have been done throughout the township.
It
Is
met
that
them in
correct, Ed?
2009. It met
That
them
is
for
absolutely correct.
2011.
Thank you.
So how did we get
So I
7
think
years
you're
behind?
missing the part of the answer where they said it was a 10-year capital program, and the street remains on the list, but as they're evaluating them annually, by whatever criteria they're using, the street has not been deemed to be at the top of the list, but it remains on the 10-year capital list. So I think that's the important part here.
Okay, so I don't know if that's of concern to anybody else, that at one point it was evaluated and it was to be put on
It
for
was put on a 10-year
2011.
list, along with a number of other streets in the township that Mr. Micolo just said are evaluated annually for prioritization.
I understand that, but it seems that we are perhaps then,
Well,
so
Ms.
where
Lana-
we are on my street is, he did come out and fill what he calls skin patches that we were calling potholes. He called them potholes himself in an earlier discussion, okay? But nonetheless, he did come out and fill in some of the largest ones, and that many of them are already opening up again. So when I round the corner by Bryant and Warner, that one is chock full of holes again. And I will say on Morden Road, just around the corner from me, riding my bike the other day, and a car coming behind me, so I got over to the right-hand side, an entire section came up without me being able to see it in time. I had spent enough time looking in my rearview mirror that was just full of skin patch potholes. And obviously, I came very close to just being thrown off my bike and into the traffic. I actually had to negotiate those holes on my bike. So there wasn't any way to avoid that. So
All right,
they are very important, even though they don't seem like they're upholding traffic, they are very important. Thank you.
Your information is noted. Thank you.
May I make a quick
Certainly,
Thank you.
Commissioner Myers.
I think it's fair to say that in this area that we really need to be flexible, because after each winter and the severity of each winter, roads are different, and every single one of us represents an area filled with residential township roads that we watch closely. We know that each year they cannot all be repaved, and that potholes or skin patches have to be done. But it's important to remain flexible because of the severity of the winter, and some roads are so bad that it's probably more efficient to repave the whole road than to fill in the potholes. Luckily, so far this winter, we're not having that kind of a winter where it's going to be terribly rough on the roads. But a couple of years ago, we certainly did have that. So I would hope that this program remains flexible and up for inspection after each and every winter. I know that each and every one of us would like to have our roads repaved on a regular basis, but it's just not doable. Thanks.
There are no other further comments from members of the audience. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you.
Let's call to order the Code Enforcement and Land Development Committee meeting for March 1st, 2017, and may I have a roll call, please? Here.
Here. Here.
And first, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the February 1st, 2017 Code Enforcement and Land Development Committee meeting, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments, corrections, additions? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Minutes are approved. Tonight, we have CE1. This is subdivision SD 1701, Nancy Posel, 1060 Mill Road Circle, Rydell, PA. This is a motion to approve the subdivision application of Nancy Posel, owner of the property located at 1060 Mill Road Circle, Abington Township. The applicant proposes to subdivide the existing property of 4.26 acres into two parcels. Lot number 1 will consist of 1.71 acres in size and is proposed to be deeded to the Township of Abington as passive deed-restricted open space. Lot number 2 is proposed to be 2.55 acres in lot area. It will contain the existing single-family dwelling, swimming pool, and tennis court. No additional development is proposed to either of the two proposed lots. The property is zoned within the R1 residential district in Ward number 2 of the Township of Abington, and the motion subject to conditions and waivers as listed on the agenda, and I so move.
Second. If you want, you want to explain, Larry, or you want?
I didn't, right, Commissioner?
Director Mateo.
Let me get this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope everybody recognizes the world-famous Nancy Pozell, who is sitting next to me, who created the Abington Library in Abington, Pennsylvania. Nancy and I started here approximately the same time, didn't we, 110 years ago, with the township. The lot in question is off of Mill Road Circle, butts the Audubon Society. Nancy is donating the 1.71 acres of parcel to us so that it's passive open space for the township, which is a nice thing, and we thank you very much. This is a no-brainer. It's nothing else is happening here, no building, so it's a good thing.
Purely a donation of...
Donation, and it's all open space. There is no building as mentioned in the motion. The Commissioner of the Ward, I believe, who resides a couple of houses up, is in favor of this?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Any comments from anyone on the committee? Any other commissioners?
And, you know, like, the only comment, I want to thank Nancy Pozell for doing this. I mean, there's a 13-acre bird sanctuary there. This will add, you know, probably, you know, obviously it's 10% almost of the total ground area. And it's really a nice area. It's got a great trail running through it. This particular parcel has a beautiful, you know, pond, and it's kind of the end of the trail, so it'll just add to, you know, what's really a kind of a bucolic area that if you guys ever have a chance, you should go walk it, because you don't feel like you're, you know, in Abington, you feel like you're actually in the wooded country area, and this will just make it larger. So it's a great thing, and, you know, this is valuable ground that she's giving to us, and it was a very nice thing that she did, so I want to thank her.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Anyone from the audience?
Laura Lehman, 1431 Bryant Lane. I know Mrs. Pozell has done an awful lot of nice things for the township. My concern here is that this piece of land seems to be pretty well bounded. Is there going to be access? There's a trail running through it now. Is there going to be community access where the community can come and park and go through it? Is that the plan?
I believe it's connected to the bird sanctuary on the plan. I mean, so they'll have the same access they will to the other open space.
So I live near there, and I don't think I've ever been walking through the bird sanctuary there. Is it, where does the entrance to the bird
There's
sanctuary?
three entrances. There's one entrance on Mill Road Circle. There's one entrance, I believe, on Crosswicks, and there's a third entrance on Deline. So there's three entrances, and it's regularly used. Yeah. Pembroke. There's one in Pembroke as well.
Okay, all right. And the taxes on this parcel that would be paid if it was not donated to the township, what are the taxes that would have been paid?
Not much, because the house is staying with it, with the tennis court and the pool, so the majority of the taxes for the space are really related to the structure. So it's a small percentage of what the taxes are on the parcel.
Do we know what the taxes for that parcel
I'm not sure, no.
are?
No, but I'm sure they're significant
Well, there would be no way to know.
for the house piece.
There won't be any way to know until the land.
Yeah, until they subdivide
Land
it.
is subdivided and
The
sold.
assessor gets the
Yeah.
information, and
Yeah.
the assessment will be redone.
Okay,
Mr.
and,
Markman's correct, that because it's deed
Okay.
restricted and it's empty land, it probably has very little tax implication.
Okay, currently, is there the possibility of building on that parcel?
Probably could be. You could actually create a driveway back to it, and you could build a house on it, which is not what we'd like.
Does it have access to a driveway, or have
You
to-
could build a driveway going back to it, yes.
So does the parcel itself have access?
It's currently
out-
one parcel with a
out to the
driveway. You could build a second driveway to this if you wanted to.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Pozell.
Thank you.
Next, we have CE2, ordinance number 2131, medical marijuana ordinance. This is for information only. The Board of Commissioners will consider the adoption of draft ordinance number 2131, an amendment to the zoning ordinance of the Township of Abington. Draft ordinance number 2131 creates use definitions for both a medical marijuana dispensary and a medical marijuana grow facility. In addition, on-site parking regulations and additional separation requirements have been included in the draft. Ordinance number 2131 was drafted to bring Abington Township into compliance with the requirements of Act 16 of 2016 of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. A public hearing has been scheduled for Thursday, March 9, 2017, at 7 o'clock p.m. in the boardroom. And since that's information only, I will move on to CE3, a public hearing, zoning ordinance update. Again, this is for information only. The Board of Commissioners of the Township of Abington have scheduled a public hearing for Monday, March 13, 2017, with a 7 p.m. start time to discuss the proposed updates to the zoning ordinance of the Township of Abington. The proposed zoning ordinance update is a comprehensive rewrite of the current zoning ordinance that was adopted in May of 1996. Again, for information only.
But there are comments about that would be relevant.
You should come on, well, you can make a general comment now for 3 minutes in the general comment period, or come March 13th for a comment about the,
Yeah, so now I want to make a comment about this agenda item.
you have 3 minutes.
I'm sorry?
You have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So the zoning rewrites was very, very comprehensive and included many, many things that the commissioners thought residents should be thrilled about, but residents we've already seen were not thrilled about them. So just take the transition zones for an example, where as they were being sold, this is really good for you, this is necessary, this is the greatest wisdom in zoning, but all the residents rejected that. So what I would like to see when you bring this to the hearing is that before the hearing, residents have access and have time to share it out among themselves to a very specific point-by-point list, basically, of the main changes within the ordinance. Some of those include, for instance, signs, so, flashing and LED signs, and there were comments, for instance, that, at one point there was a comment in the minutes that the signs were considered to be dangerous by the National Traffic Safety Commission, the State Highway Commission, and the FOP, but in the next sentence, we were seeing if we could get income from them when they were on other properties. So those are things that, never were properly vetted and never brought back from the commissioners to the people of this township, political signs and how long they could stay up. Those kinds of things should be on a list. Those kinds of changes are major changes. Who decides what trees? When you take down a tree, who has to replace them and with what? On our private property, while on township property, massive amounts of trees are dying. We have mixed uses being forced in some areas and required by the zoning, yet the commissioner who led that charge just did a development where they took the mixed use away and put in all residential. Positively absurd. This is the kind of thing that residents don't understand, and I would really appreciate if you could get a concise list of the changes, the major changes on signs, on all of those things, and bring them to the residents before that meeting, before that hearing. Would you consider doing that, please?
Thank you for your comments.
Okay, I hope you will. I'll take that as a maybe yes, okay? It would be a service to the community. Thank you.
And any other members of the audience? Hearing none, can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Oops, I'm not ready. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Public Safety Committee meeting for March 1st, 2017, and I'd like to have a roll call. Here.
Here. Here. Here. Here.
Thank you. A motion to approve the minutes of the February 1st, 2017 Public Safety Committee meeting, and I so move.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes have been approved. Before we call on our Chief Livingood for the Police Department, I just have a quick announcement that I would like to congratulate the Abington Township Fire Department on their achievement of maintaining fire department accreditation. I know we received a notice from the annual compliance report, and I just want to quote a few things. Chief Gregory D. Chesser, who did the evaluation, recommended to the Commission on Fire Accreditation International that the Abington Township Fire Department retain their accredited agency status for another year. So we're currently in the third year out of 5. And then he went on to say that he commends our continued progress towards excellence to sustain and improve our customer service programs and services to the community. So congratulations. It's wonderful news. And I'm sure the board, along with myself, would like to say congratulations to everybody. So if you would pass that on.
Indeed.
And now, Chief Livingood, if you have a report for us.
Thank you, Commissioner Schreiber. As we discussed before, after the recent hirings that we did, our authorized strength is 92 officers. That's all the way from the top to the bottom. But we're currently at 89. The candidate who is at PS2 tonight on the agenda, Morgan Peff, she will replace, if you approve this, Chief Kelly. His retirement was effective January 31st, 2017, and this will put us at 90 officers. The other 2 vacancies are Officer Costello and Lieutenant Mike Gallagher, and both of whom retired effective February 28, 2017. We intend to fill those vacancies, but we intend to do that from a new list. Off of the current list, and since May of 2016, we have hired 10 new police officers. So that's like a 1/10 of our department has been hired within the last, 8 months, something like that. So here's the schedule. As you are aware, we have been advertising for a entrance test. Applicants can apply online only at abingtonpd.org. And if you know anybody who is a qualified candidate, we'd love to hear from them. The deadline for doing that is March 17th at 4 p.m. Has to be in by that point in time. The schedule from that point forward is April 1st, we'll have the written test. April 22nd, they'll do a physical agility. And then from May 1st to about May 15th, depending on how many candidates we have, we'll do the oral portion of that. On May 16th, we'll begin the background investigations on the top candidates. And then on July 5th, again, if you approve PS2 and it is approved by the full board at the commissioners meeting, Morgan Peff would start with our department. On July 10th, the police academy starts. So she would be in sync to go to that academy. She does not have 120 training already, and she would have to go. And we would also be able to put her in with the other candidates who we would already be hiring off of that list. There's some benefit in doing that because of the amount of training that we have to give them after they get done the academy. We like to do them all at one time rather than piecemeal. it saves a lot of manpower doing that. The academy lasts 21 weeks. That's a little over 5 months. And then we have 4 weeks of in-house training, followed by 15 weeks where they ride along with another officer. So you can see that the learning curve is extensive. It takes us a while to get these officers up to speed. And that's the reason we do not like to let these vacancies go any longer than we have to. So that's our plan for the immediate future, to fill the vacancies. And as we go through this process, we will be explaining more about that to you. Also, I think a lot of things that have been in the news recently, we're all dismayed to hear about the hate crimes that have occurred across our entire country and in this region as well. Cemeteries that were desecrated, places of worship that were threatened with bombs, and all the other hate crimes that have occurred. This did not go without notice to us. We paid attention to that, and we have done some preparation. We actually had people that met with the people down at Temple Beth Am and prepared for this in case something would happen there, and help work them through how they should react and how we will react and how we can work together and how we can best deal with these kind of situations. We've also looked at the cemeteries, particularly Montefiore, and I've spoken with them. They are taking some precautions and working with us to help us be able to patrol through there a little bit easier. So we have done a couple of things to try to be as prepared as we possibly can to do these things, if they should happen here in Abington. And I'd also like to mention that we actually have had a couple of incidents that occurred here, which certainly don't rise to that level, but are very troubling to us nevertheless. On February the 20th, a person over at Abington High School walking across the baseball field found a swastika had been scratched into the dirt on a baseball field. The school maintenance people were able to come over and rake that out pretty easily. It was not permanent. But on this past weekend, February 26th, there was a park guard discovered in Roslyn Park. There were some hateful, anti-Semitic markings that were done with a Sharpie that was a permanent marker. And that included also another swastika, as well as some other hateful and offensive things. Parks Department is aware of that. They're dealing with that. I talked to Andy tonight, and they are on top of that and making sure that that is removed as quickly as possible. We have alerted all of our patrols. All of our officers are aware of this issue. This is not something we take lightly. May seem like a minor crime. We do not consider it to be that. We consider it to be a very, very serious thing that has no place in Abington Township. And rest assured that we will do whatever we can to, number one, prevent this from happening, and number two, to catch the people and prosecute them if it does. And that's my report.
Thank you. Thank you for being proactive on that. I'm sorry that you have to be, but I appreciate that. Are there any comments from anybody? Any questions or comments?
Director Schreiber, if I could just echo your thanks. Chief Livingood, it means a lot to us. I think everyone in the community of every possible background, race, creed, faith, orientation, everything, to know that the APD is, as always, on top of and ahead of the curve on making sure that that these incidents are prevented wherever possible, spotted as soon as they happen, and addressed. So I want to thank you very much personally.
Thank you.
I also echo those sentiments. Thank you. One of the questions I have is, you mentioned one particular place of worship that you've spoken with. I'm not sure if, without giving us too much information that might help people that are looking to cause harm, are there plans to meet with or provide information to the leaders of all, in our area, all faith-based places of worship and their daycares, for example, after-school programs, et cetera, with any guidance as to how to maybe assist some of them that may not be as sophisticated with security measures, and or just reiterating the importance, and I'm talking about all faiths, because while one is being targeted right now in certain ways, it was another one a few weeks before that, and it could be all of them.
Yes, that's a very good point, Commissioner. And we, of course, wanted to concentrate at first on the Jewish institutions, since that's the ones that have been most targeted. But we do meet with all of these daycares, all of the faith-based learning institutions, as well as our public, parochial, and other schools. The bulk of this is done by Tom McEnany and Tom Scott, Sergeant Tom Scott, who both serve as our emergency management folks, the lead people on that. And they're the ones that went down and met with Temple Beth Am, and they have a regular system of redoing our emergency plan, meeting with the institutions, and we're certainly going to accelerate that a little bit. I talked to them about that today. So we will get them all eventually. But right now, we wanted to focus our efforts where we thought the biggest risk was.
Thank you.
Any other comments from Commissioners? Commissioner Klein.
I want to thank the police department also, but I also want to make one point. Having been closely involved with or a victim of anti-Semitism years ago, rest assured that it's great that we're concentrating on it now because of the threats that happen. But it is my experience that this type of attitude, anti-Semitism, is always around. And I hope we all learned a lesson that we should, not just with anti-Semitism, but also hate crimes and prejudice are always around, and that we should always be keeping our eye open.
Yes. I agree with you, Commissioner.
Any other comments? Thank you. Thank you for your report. And I want to point out we have from the Second Alarmers, John Clank. Anything? No report? Thank you very much. So we're going to move on with our formal agenda then. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to bring up one thing. Good evening, Commissioners. You have to bear with my voice. I'm losing it. So if you ask my wife, I'm losing my mind too, but that's all right. So I wanted to pass out flyers to everybody prior to the meeting. One of our officers, many of you probably know him, Officer Brian Rickards, was recently diagnosed with ALS. And we're going to hold a benefit for him on Saturday, April 8th from 7 to 11 p.m. at the North Penn VFW. So if you could get the word out there to everybody, we hope to see a big crowd out there in support of him and his family.
Thank you. I noticed about the checks. Do you want people to come here to the police station with their checks? Is that the best way to purchase tickets if they're interested?
Yeah, you can come in here. There's a lot of officers that have the tickets, and Kathleen up in the deputy chief's office, she has them handy. So if they want to come in here, they can. Or if you know somebody who wants them, you can contact myself or somebody, another officer, and we'll get the tickets out to them.
Okay, thank you.
We should all ask Al questions now.
Anybody else have a question for Al? Anybody need a stop sign in their area?
You can't say no if you can't talk.
Okay.
Actually, I can.
That's what texting is for.
Okay, PS1 is a motion to advertise ordinance number 2137, amending Chapter 156, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking Regulations, Section 25, Parking prohibited at all times, no parking between signs, no parking here to corner, parking prohibited except certain hours, no stopping or standing, for adoption at the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Commissioners on April 13th, 2017 at 7:30 p.m., and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from commissioners, staff, audience? Hearing none, all those in favor? Oh.
I read that a couple of times, and I'm not sure exactly what it says. It's going to be amended. In what way is it being amended? What is different about it? It's not specifying a street, right? You're not specifying a street there. You're just amending the ordinance?
No. It's the same thing every month. What happens is the signs are put together into that upcoming. So this is for a particular corner.
Why is but the corners are almost always mentioned when the corners are there. I thought maybe you were changing the ordinance that they were relying on. Do you see a corner mentioned there? Did I miss it?
It's in the ordinance.
It's in the
It's in
ordinance
the, it's,
itself.
yeah, it's in the ordinance, it's not mentioned in the agenda.
So you know what it is you're approving.
No,
So
I do.
where
It's
is this?
Keswick Avenue, 20 feet north and south of the existing crosswalks at Sylvania Avenue.
Sylvania Avenue? Okay. Is it, it's not, it was in the papers below?
It's in the ordinance.
It's in the
Okay.
actual ordinance. Yep, which is the same way we do it every month. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. PS2 is a motion to appoint candidate Morgan Feff from the Certified Civil Service Eligibility List to the position of probationary police officer, provided she successfully completes the background, physical, and psychological tests and all entry requirements of the Municipal Police Officers Education and Training Commission for Act 120. Training appointment will be effective July 5th, 2017, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions from commissioners, staff, audience? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. PS3 is a motion to approve an employment contract with the police lieutenants incorporating the same employment benefit charges resulting from the 2016 arbitration award from the Township Police Association. All other benefits to remain the same, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions from commissioners? Staff, audience?
So my question was whether there is a drop program negotiated into that.
Michael, do you want to go over this?
The proposed agreement just incorporates all the changes that are included in the rank and file arbitration award from 2016. There are no additional benefits being added. All the police employees, including lieutenants, are currently covered by a drop program.
So it's the same.
Yeah, and I missed that, yeah, I'm sorry. One went out and yours is beeping. So what was, the answer was yes, there is drop program
The
included
police
in that.
officers do have drop, yes.
Okay.
But
So
no change to drop.
But there's no changes. It's the same as they had before.
it's the same as they had before. Well, I thought they didn't all have it. I thought the management didn't have it, and then Chief Kelly had his added in the middle of a non-negotiating period, and then I was told that only the officers below lieutenant had that in their contract.
That's incorrect.
Yes.
I'm sorry?
That's incorrect. That's, the
Okay.
information you just gave is
So-
incorrect.
Could you ask Mr. Lefevre, if I call him to ask for this, will I get an explanation and my questions answered so I can understand the drop program? Because I do not believe the drop program is in anybody's interest. Okay?
The contract will be available through a right-to-know request, so if the speaker would like to file a right-to-know request, it will be available.
You hear that?
Okay, then the speaker doesn't get any wisdom as to why, and I have shared much information as to why these drop programs are not beneficial to the township, and in one way, because they create later retirements where people basically are, collecting extra money so they stay around longer. So when you retire, you should retire. But the thing that I'm looking for is some understanding of what the wisdom is. I will put in a right to know, because I would like to know the other retirement issues as well. But that in particular, I hope the commissioners will look into that and understand it a little bit better, because most of the wisdom is against the drop program being in our interest. Thank you.
Any other comments from anybody? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other comments that have to do with public safety from anybody?
Laura Lehman, 1431 Bryant Lane. As you heard me mention, back in Public Works, when we don't have the money, supposedly, to keep the roads in this shape, and I've been in this township for 40 years, and they just have never been like this, never been like this. So sure, we have storms, but we have lots of things that we do that we don't need to do, that don't involve safety, that don't involve the quality of our township, people coming home to patched and holed roads with holes in them and so on. And that should be a safety priority and where the money is spent. Okay? And one example, I'm sitting on this vacant property group to listen in on that. We have township personnel sitting in that room talking about how they're going to do something that they haven't done with the tools that they had, code enforcement tools. Give the people
Excuse me, Ms. Lehman, you've talked about Public Works now and code enforcement.
Yeah, I'm trying to explain to you that...
Let me just, I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I know it's your 3 minutes.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll
But,
listen. I'm sorry.
None of the people that can address the things you're talking about are here.
Oh, that's a bunch of
So,
nonsense, because when
it's
all
not
of you know
nonsense.
it, then together, you talk to those people. You all are in charge of finding out how these people who work for you
Okay, so you
do
made
their
your
job.
point.
So all of you
made your
need to
point
know
about
that.
the streets already earlier this evening
And
when
my
Mr. Micolo
point-
was here.
But my point is, I was told that the money was an issue, that we can't always have everything exactly. That's what was said when I sat down, okay? That we can't always have everything we want, that, you know, there's a certain amount of money, we do the best we can, and so on. That is where this becomes an issue, how that money is being spent on things that are not priorities for safety. So I'm appealing to you as the safety officer and the safety committee.
The people that
to
are here
recognize
this
that.
evening of our staff, we have second alarmers here, we have the fire department here, we have the police here. None of them really work on streets.
We have
but
15 commissioners here who
and they
direct
heard
all
you-
these people.
And they heard you earlier this evening, so thank you for your comments.
Okay, my comments to you were about the fact that money should be prioritized so that it is spent on safety issues first before it's spent elsewhere.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any other comments? If none, I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you. So I hear you counting over there.
All right, it is my pleasure to convene the March 1st, 2017 Township of Abington Public Affairs Committee meeting, and we shall start with the roll call, please. Here.
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 Here. Here. Everybody's here. And now the minutes. This is a motion to approve the minutes of the February 1st, 2017 Public Affairs Committee meeting, and I so move.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any changes, updates, spelling mistakes from Commissioner Farron? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Minutes are approved. And now a report from our Parks and Recreation Bureau Director. It's a different name here. It's not Doug. It's Andy Oles. How are you, Director Andy?
Good, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm pleased to announce that our activities guide has gone online today. It went up live on our website and our Facebook page. We're still reminding residents to set up their online accounts for the online registration. They can do that anytime, but it'll also help with the new pictures for the pool. That way, when they come in, all their information will be in. We can just get the picture, attach it to their card, and get them through a lot quicker. We're expecting that there might be some hiccups with that, so we're asking everybody to get ahead of that with signing up for the thing. Our discount amusement tickets will probably be going on sale at the end of this month for the summer parks and all the summer ones, and our ski tickets will end probably now with the weather, but usually we go to about the 15th before the ski mountains start offering better deals.
Skiing on grass.
Yeah, so, but that's it. We're looking forward to getting started with the online registration, and like I said, the activities guide is out there now, and online registration is available.
Thank you so much. Those will both be going in the newsletter tonight. Thank you very much, Director
And
Oles.
that is all I have.
Excellent. Let us start. PA1, it's a bid award for the community facility at Crestmont Park. Now, there are blanks here, and so I'm going to, before we actually read the motion, I'm going to ask Community Development Director Strother for an update on this bid.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. February 28th, 2017, yesterday, the Township of Abington received 3 bids for the construction of the Crestmont Clubhouse at Crestmont Park. All bids came over the budget amount, and we are now requesting that the Board of Commissioners reject all bids and re-advertise for the construction of the building with modifications.
All right, so can I go ahead and make that motion? Then we can discuss if necessary. It all seems very straightforward. Thank you, Director Strother. All right, then I would like to make a motion to reject the bids from the February 28th bidding period and rebid the construction of the community facility at Crestmont Park. And I so move.
Second.
As sloppy as that was. I'm sure in the minutes it'll look much better. Any additional comments, Director Strother?
No comments.
Okay. Commissioner Bowman, looks like you have a...
How much is in the budget for the building?
We have a range of $1.2 to $1.3 million for the cost of construction.
Okay, I saw your email today, and the modifications maybe can bring it down into that range, hopefully, I guess.
Yes. With the building we put out for bids had like a wish list. We had a basement, which triggered mechanical systems, lighting, heating, stair towers. There was a much more intricate detail for the foundation wall that mirrored up with the slab on grade. So by removing the basement, it's going to simplify the construction, increase the building time, and eliminate a lot of the mechanical systems. In addition to that wish list, we had upgraded mechanical systems and other devices that we're looking to take out. So it was a wish list that kind of put us over the mark, and we believe that with rebidding with the modified drawings, we'll bring it within budget.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Kalinowski.
With the modifications, will it still meet the needs of the wants of the community?
Absolutely. We have not changed the footprint of the building. The inside of the building will remain the same. It's just eliminating the basement. And the basement was really in preparation for the future, for future activities, but the modifications won't change the function of the building.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Farron.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I just ask a point of order? Do we need to introduce a new motion, or can the subcommittee just deny this motion?
You need to affirmatively reject bids when you are bidding a project. You need to affirmatively reject bids.
So we have to make a motion to formally
reject the bids, and not just to not accept the bids. You need to affirmatively reject the bids.
So what would have happened if they had just decided, it came up for a regular vote that we weren't going to negate everything, and the committee decided we don't want this?
The bid specs may contain language that if the bid is not awarded in a certain amount of time, it can be awarded up by an operation of law,
right.
And you don't want that to happen.
And this would be a similar issue to what we were dealing with last month in terms of bid contracts. Maybe not last month, but a couple meetings ago, somebody came with concerns about the,
Correct.
It's the language of the contracts that matters.
Yeah, right.
So we formally have to positively deny this.
Affirmatively reject all bids.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners? Township staff? Residents? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
The new PA1 shall move on to the full board. PA2, this is a motion to authorize the use of funds from BB&T, account number 139-000-740-639, in the amount of $119,027.62 as of January 1st, 2017, to fund the construction of a new community facility at Crestmont Park. This account was established on August 31st, 1990, for affordable housing purposes that has been replaced by funding from HUD and DCED, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Manager LaFever.
Yes, Commissioner Spiegelman, and I'll check with Dan, but I don't know if it's necessary to act on this now in light of the bids that we just rejected. Possibly want to table this and revisit it once the new bids are received.
Sure.
If that's appropriate. Okay, I'll move to table? Yes. I'm really learning this stuff. I've only been doing it a couple of years. Okay, motion to table PA2.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Do we open that up for comments, or as a motion to table, or no?
Nope.
All right. All those in favor of tabling this for the future time that's appropriate?
Aye.
Aye.
So long, PA2. All right. And now we are on to PA3.
Excuse me,
This
just
is
a quick question, if you don't mind the interruption. The BB&T, what is that?
The bank.
BB&T is the bank that bought Susquehanna Bank. They're a
Okay.
bank.
Oh, okay. And could you
Baltimore
explain
Bank and
that the
Trust.
account was established and has been replaced by funding from HUD?
I think it was repurposed over time.
But originally, the money was in there, having been acquired
Right.
from where?
DCED
From DCED.
and HUD. Says right
Okay.
there in the motion.
All right, thank you.
All right. All right, this is PA3. This is a motion to approve a 7-year lease extension at Alberthorpe Manor for the Lubavitch of Abington, effective August 1st, 2017, at a base rate of $20,025.21 annually, with all other terms remaining the same, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from members of the committee? Commissioner Schreiber.
When we did this before, it wasn't 7 years. Was it?
When we first entered an agreement with the Lubavitch Synagogue, it was a one-year contract initially with 4 one-year renewals. I don't think anyone was sure how it was going to work out, both for the township and the synagogue, so that's why we had basically 5 one-year contracts, which the board did approve subsequently each year. Those contracts expired now. The last contract expires this year in August, and the synagogue has asked the township if we would consider a 7-year lease moving forward under the same terms.
So it'll be the same amount every year?
Well, the amount of rent actually increases by CPI each year, so there was a bump this year. Next month, I'll probably have before the board consideration of the Historical Society lease that's on the second floor of the manor. And what I hope between these two leases, probably over 90% of our utility costs for the whole building will be covered by these 2 leases. Now, they're certainly not a cash cow for the township, but at least they'll go a long way to stop the bleeding that we have been undergoing in the operation of that building for the past 20 years.
Thank you, Manager LaFever. Any other questions from commissioners in general? Township staff, Commissioner Rothman.
So, just so I understand that correctly, there's a set percentage that the lease will go up each year over the course of the 7 years?
What's tied by the consumer price index.
Right.
So depending on what the consumer price index, it bumps up accordingly, the same rate.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand. Thank you.
John, I did have,
Commissioner Klein.
and do I remember correctly that the Art Center is still not, we're still under the agreement where they're not paying rent at this point?
That's correct, which doesn't put me in a real strong position negotiating these contracts, but so far it's been very amicable and it's worked out well for everyone.
All right. Anything else from commissioners? Township staff? Residents?
Laura Lehman, 1431 Bryant Lane, and I would encourage you still, as I have in the past, to please look for a use that is more open. This is a township building that is something that would go in there, like the Art Center, that everybody in the township can benefit from. This is not only a small group, if you look at the religion, but it's also a small subgroup of that particular religion. So the use would be by a very, very small group of people, very few of whom live in this township. So I would ask that you look for uses like the Settlement Music School was, the Art Center is, and that you keep the lease shorter and keep your eye open to that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. With that, if there are no other questions, we're going to go ahead and vote on PA3, excuse me. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? PA3 is adopted. PA4. This is a motion to approve the adoption of the revised policy on the naming and renaming or dedication of municipal property, buildings, park elements, streets, or other facilities, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Manager LaFever, do you want to discuss anything? And then we made
Just briefly,
some
Commissioner
changes.
Spiegelman, last month the board discussed this topic in pretty good detail. I tried to incorporate the comments made at that meeting into a revised draft, which was distributed to the board. And after distribution, it was pointed out that I did miss one point that was corrected this week. And further revised. So at this point, I think I've addressed all the concerns of the board, and we're in a position to move forward if the committee desires.
All right. Any questions? Let's start from with the committee.
I had a question, more of a comment. Michael, thank you for keeping us informed with this as it went forward and giving us the guidance. I think it's a great policy, and we should move forward with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kalinowski. Any other commissioners in general? Township staff? Residents?
Laura Lehman, 1431 Bryant Lane, and I would just like to reiterate again that I don't believe that anybody who does their good deeds with taxpayer money instead of their own should be considered for naming policies. I think that if you agree to public service, you agree to public service, but obviously the more money you shuffle around, the better your chances of getting your name on something, and we've seen how that can be perverted, so I would like to see that removed. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
I was going to name the podium after her.
There's always
3 years.
There's always time. I'm always impressed when the word perverted comes up during my committee. All right, with that, let us vote on PA4. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
PA4 is adopted. PA5. This is a motion to approve the acquisition for $1 each, for $1 each, two underground parcels, 300-57076-008 and 300-57080-001 on Robinson Avenue off Clearview through a repository sale from the Montgomery County Tax Claim Bureau, and to authorize the township manager to execute any necessary documents to effectuate that bid. Acquisition is contingent on receipt of a favorable title search and Phase 1 environmental assessment, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Manager Lefevre.
Just one correction, they're not underground parcels, that's a typo, they're undeveloped parcels.
I was going to ask. I wanted to know what's going on.
You presaged my question. You know, I was really hoping they were underground parcels.
Maybe we had a crystal cave going on here or something.
Seems like a bit of overpayment.
Underdeveloped.
I was going to ask for an explanation.
Undeveloped. Yeah, are there any questions? Are there any questions that don't involve the subterranean nature of these fine parcels? Commissioner Schreiber.
I'm trying to figure out where this is. Wayne, is this in your ward?
Yes, this is in Ward 5.
Is this over by the dog park area?
It's actually behind it. This
Behind
is,
it?
correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, this was all
Right under it, yeah.
part of wetlands for years, and I think it
There's,
still is.
Between Clearview and the Grove Park, there's 6 parcels, basically wooded, undeveloped parcel. There's, I think there's some floodplain in there. We acquired 2 parcels in 2014. 2 parcels are now available on the repository sale through the Tax Claim Bureau. These are parcels that were previously offered to the public for back taxes that weren't sold, so now they're available for sale. Any sale has to be approved by the township, the school district, and the county. So we're hoping we can acquire it for $1 each. And what this will do, hopefully, we'll own 4 of the 6 parcels with the intent eventually to acquire all 6. There's some stormwater issues on Clearview that we need to address, and also provide some opportunity to improve access to the park from residents living on the east side of the park. So for a modest amount, long-term benefits certainly are there. Now, in addition to the $1 each, there are some expenses to the township if we move forward for Phase 1 environmental assessment and also a title report, probably total cost of approximately $3,500. So there is some modest cost to the township, but overall it'll be a good value in the long run.
So is that where, like, could a trail go through there? Or
There is a path through there now, but we're looking to improve, I think, access, much wider range of improvement for access to the park.
Okay, because I know that's one of the things we're looking into. Thank you.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
President Luker, is this where, like, near where Clearview ends? Is
Right.
that okay, that's what I thought. All right.
Yep, right where Clearview ends. Right.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I know where this is. Not that anyone cares if I know where it is. Any other questions from commissioners? Township staff? Residents? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
PA5 passes. PA6. This is a motion to advertise the bid for the data center upgrade, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Pretty straightforward. Any questions from Any commissioners on this, the data center? Township staff, questions or comments? Residents? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Just the life, we've reached the life expectancy of our network system and data system, so we need to go out for bid to upgrade.
What is it expected to cost?
Oh, you didn't need to get up.
We don't have a bid yet.
The question, I'm not going to do this all night because we're almost done, but the question is, what is it expected to cost? I think we're going to find out when it's bid out, and then we'll let everybody know because we're going to have to approve it. Technology.
Is there amount budgeted, I assume?
Yes.
And what is that budgeted number?
I don't have that. Do you?
I don't have the exact number because it's pulled together from a couple different items. I want to say in the $80,000 range, kind of like not to exceed.
All right. Looking forward to see how those bids pan out. There are no further questions. All those in favor?
Aye.
PA6 moves forward. Finally, PA7. This is a motion to reject all bids received and authorize rebidding through pen bid of for the Crestmont Park basketball court replacement, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Again, pretty straightforward. Members of the committee or commissioners in general, any questions about this? Mr. Bowman.
What did these come in at, Ben? Do you know? Or was, I'm sorry, Annie. Do you know what did these come in at?
What did the bids come in at?
The short answer is too high.
They were about $18,000 over what we had. So roughly 68. I think they were right around there to do a full replacement.
Just the top of the courts?
No, we were going to go down sub-base, bring it back up because we had some existing cracks that if you just do the surface, they come back. So we were going to redo the court one time right and have it last a lot longer. So we're going to look at the specs, modify it a little bit, and see what we can do to make it fit in what we need.
Thank you.
The other questions or comments from township staff? Residents? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
PA7 moves forward. All right, that concludes our rather lengthy, but look how quickly we got through it, formal agenda. And now we will open the floor to any comments pertaining to the purview of public affairs. Name and address in 3 minutes, as always. Thank you.
Laura Lehman, 1431 Bryant Lane. So, first of all, there is still this wonderful tactic of changing whatever the speaker says once they sit down and then not allowing any other comment after that. So the issues that we have are numerous. For instance, in one case, I said there were something like 28 items on the agenda and we had 3 minutes. It was like 0.06 seconds for each one. So, literally, there is not enough time for people who are watching all of the issues. And there is not full cooperation in getting understanding. That happens from the chair, who, when something's not understood, they have full option to allow the conversation to go back and forth and not call it a debate, but allow it to happen for understanding. And it is absolutely tragic when it does not. In fact, the very day that I said that we didn't have enough time to speak, somebody actually followed that up with saying, the residents have ample time to speak on these issues. No, they don't. We keep telling you that, okay? So that is a problem. That happened again tonight. That's a problem. It is something that you need to understand what the residents' problems are. The roads that are a disgrace, that shouldn't happen in this township. And what I was trying to communicate in the short amount of time I have, trying to figure out how to phrase the words, is that there are many, many, many things that do not need to have the kind of money that they're getting, sometimes millions of dollars. And we need to figure out how to repurpose those things back to what needs to be done. And one example of that, I am thoroughly distressed with this vacant property committee and the fact that residential properties are now going to be in their crosshairs, where one of the reasons we don't have money is because the person keeping a blighted property should be paying for that. When the code enforcement department does not enforce the code and give them penalties, and the legislators don't increase the penalties if they're not scary enough in order to get that property into compliance. Instead, what you do is you take our money to pay our personnel, to pay an architect, to pay for figuring out where the real estate works out. You work out the whole deal on the taxpayer dime, and the person selling the property may even get a bonus from that instead of getting penalized for keeping their property blighted. So when you have taxpayers picking up the tab and the bad guys getting off, you always have things topsy-turvy. And then we have March 19th, 2015, in the crime meeting, our now Chief Livingood said, we don't have enough money to investigate all the crimes. Well, my house was one of the properties. I was one of the crimes at my house that they didn't have enough money to investigate. I found where the people were, and nothing ever happened to them.
Just so you know, your 3 minutes are up. But I will actually, I know you have complained that you don't get an answer right away. I'm actually going to give you an answer right away to the one comment that pertains to anything that I'm directly involved in, which is Vacant Property Review Board. We don't actually have residential properties in our crosshairs. First of all, we're a very peaceful board. We don't use a lot of crosshairs and shooting metaphors. But what we are in the process of doing is educating ourselves on the system of conservatorship so that we can properly evaluate it. It's a relatively new thing. So we're educating ourselves. But right now we are focused on vacant retail and commercial properties. So thank you for your comments.
Okay. And can I just share one thing? Because I've asked you several times, and I have asked it in writing. I would like to know.
20 seconds, and then we're going to wrap up.
I would like to know how many violation notices and penalties and fines each one of those properties that you're pursuing got. And if the answer is the 0 that I seem to keep getting, then the problem is not the property. The problem is in the code department.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And with that, somebody needs dinner, and I'm one of those somebodies. Adjourned.